Everybody talks about how to get rich. That's almost the easy part. Today, we're going to tackle something way, way harder: how to not be poor. Because you see, escaping poverty isn't just about earning a bit more money. It's about breaking a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle.
And that's the first thing you have to understand. We tend to think poverty is just an empty bank account, but it's not. The whole idea behind this explainer is to frame it as a trap, a powerful gravitational force that's designed to keep you in orbit, spinning your wheels until you completely run out of fuel.
So how do you break free from gravity? Well, you need what rocket scientists call escape velocity. Think about this. If a rocket fires with 99% of the fuel it needs, it doesn't get 99% of the way to the moon. No, it falls right back down to Earth. This is exactly why just working a little harder is usually a recipe for burnout, not a breakthrough. You need a massive, exponential push to break free.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the actual physics of poverty. Then we'll identify the 5 chains that hold people in place. After that, we'll forge the 5 keys to break those chains. And finally, we'll lay out the launch sequence for achieving true escape velocity. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start with the physics of poverty. And here's the most important thing to get your head around. The system isn't rigged because of some secret conspiracy. It's rigged by simple, brutal mathematics that makes being poor, well, incredibly expensive.
And this is that vicious cycle right here. It all starts with a low income. That creates just an immense amount of stress. That constant stress leads to bad, short-term decisions. And those decisions ensure you have no assets, which, you guessed it, locks you right back into a low income. Round and round and round you go.
Okay, so we've established there's this gravitational pull. But what's actually creating it? Let's deconstruct this whole thing by looking at the 5 specific chains that keep people trapped.
And here they are, the 5 invisible chains: the scarcity tax, the dopamine trap, the linear income trap, social gravity, and the last one, the compound void. Let's break down exactly how each one of these works against you.
First one up is the scarcity tax. And this is so much more than just not having enough cash. It's a direct tax on your mental energy, on your cognitive bandwidth. It's a tax on your brain.
And get this, the data on this is absolutely wild. A Harvard study found that just dealing with constant financial stress can drop your effective IQ by 13 points. That's the same cognitive impairment as going without sleep for a full 24 hours or being a functional alcoholic. Now just imagine trying to solve complex, long-term problems when your brain is literally stuck in survival mode.
This is the famous Vimes boots theory, and it illustrates this perfectly. So the rich man buys a pair of $50 boots that lasts him 10 years. That's $5 a year. The poor man can only scrape together enough for the $10 boots, which fall apart after 1 year. So over that same decade, he ends up spending $100, twice as much, and his feet were probably wet the whole time. It is expensive to be poor.
All right, let's move on to the second chain, the dopamine trap. Look, when your life is just a constant, stressful grind, spending money on something, anything, new can feel like a win. It's a quick hit of dopamine, a way to self-medicate and just numb the pain for a little while.
And this really gets to a fundamental difference in mindset. So often, the poor see money as a tool to buy temporary pleasure, liabilities that just lose value over time. The rich, on the other hand, see money as a tool to buy freedom, assets that grow in value. One path starves your future, and the other one feeds it.
Now, the third chain is the big one, the one that most of our society is built on. It's the linear income trap. It's that simple but totally flawed equation that time equals money. What's the problem with that? Well, your time is finite. There are only so many hours in a day, which means there's a hard mathematical cap on how much you can ever earn.
And this is where it gets really brutal. So let's say you work hard, you get that 3% raise you were hoping for. But, as this chart shows, inflation is humming along at 8%. So you're working harder, you're selling more of your limited, precious time, but you're actually getting poorer. You're literally running up an escalator that's going down faster than you're climbing.
Next up, we've got social gravity. You might have heard of this as the crab bucket effect. It's a fascinating idea. If you put 1 crab in a bucket, it'll climb right out. But if you put 10 crabs in there, the moment one of them gets near the top, the others will literally pull it back down. Your social circle, often without even meaning to, can do the exact same thing when you try to change your life for the better.
And that brings us to our final chain, the compound void. Einstein famously called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it."
It's that simple. If you're paying 20% interest on credit card debt, you are on the wrong side of that powerful equation. It's like trying to paddle a canoe upstream against a massive current.
All right, that was the problem. That was a lot, I know. But now, let's talk about the solution. It's time to stop talking about chains and start forging some keys. It's time to build the engine for your escape. And here is the blueprint. For every chain, there is a key. To break that scarcity tax, you build a $1,000 buffer. That buys you breathing room, it buys back your brain power. To break the dopamine trap, you enter monk mode, just ruthlessly cutting all non-essential spending. To break the linear income trap, you build a skill stack, combining multiple skills to make yourself uniquely valuable. To break social gravity, you find virtual mentors in books, online content, anywhere. And finally, to break the compound void, you cross that critical line from paying interest to earning it.
So now, let's put all of those keys together. We're going to wrap this up with the final section of our explainer, the 3-stage launch sequence you need to achieve true escape velocity.
Stage 1 is survival. It's simple. You stop the bleeding, use those monk mode savings to destroy all of your high-interest debt. Stage 2 is accumulation. You start buying productive assets, even if it's just $10 a day into a low-cost index fund. And then there's Stage 3, freedom. This is escape velocity. This is the moment your assets generate enough income to cover your basic needs, and you no longer have to sell your time just to live.
So, after all this talk about systems and mathematics and traps, the most crucial point to take away is this. Yes, the chains feel like metal, but they are forged in the mind. The single biggest barrier isn't actually the system. It's the belief that escape is impossible.
Which brings us to our final thought. The physics can be on your side. You have the map. The door to the cage? Well, it's been open this whole time. The only real question left is, do you have the courage to walk out?